Hi, my name is Bandy and this is my channel Bandysbooks. Today I'm going to be doing just a really quick video. It's pretty popular for the Booktube community, and that is the Booktube Newbie tag. I realize that I've been posting for almost a month now and I never really did like an introduction video, so hopefully this will be a little bit of a chance to kind of get to know me and what I bring to the super saturated world of Booktube. The first question on the Booktube Newbie tag is, why did you start this channel? So I actually was inspired to start this channel by my mom. My mom has a little free library in the San Diego area, and she started posting on Instagram about it. Every day she posts about whatever books she's putting in the little free library, or she posts about the little free libraries that she visits around town. And I read a lot and I love reading, and we've been discussing a lot of the books and everything, and then I realized that like I have a lot to say about books and I don't have anyone beside my mom to talk about books with. I try to talk to like my boyfriend or my coworkers or my friends, and none of them are really into reading the way that I am. So I figured starting a booktube and like a bookstagram would be a good way to kind of talk about all the things that I'm excited about, I guess. Question 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? Some fun and unique things that I can bring to Booktube. Well, unlike a lot of the people on Booktube, I am not a scholar. I am not getting like a master's degree or a doctorate in like philosophy or literature or anything like that. I'm not a teacher. I don't work in like a language-based industry. I'm actually a professional chef for a living. I graduated from trade school. I am multilingual, but I'm self-taught. I don't have any real formal education in my second language, which is Spanish. I also bring to the table, I think, a pretty unique perspective in that I've traveled a ton. A few years back, I actually decided to take a break and I quit my job, took all my savings, and took off and traveled for about 2 years. I ended up going to 25 countries across 4 continents, and I think that really broadened my perspective, really introduced me to a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people, kind of made me really analyze the types of books that I was reading, the types of media that I was consuming, the types of music I was listening to, all that kind of stuff. And I think it really helped expand my perspective. So I think that that leads me to hopefully try to read more of a broad spectrum of books from a lot of different places, a lot of different cultures and things like that. Question number 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I am super excited just to get to know the book community, both on Booktube and Bookstagram. I've even ventured a little bit into book talk, which is like a really scary and unfamiliar thing. I'm a little older than the average social media person, so I'm still figuring out the book talk thing. That's like a new scary thing for me. And I'm on like Goodreads and all that stuff as well. And I'm just finding a lot of lovely people, getting to know the community, enjoying like yelling and shouting over books that we like, or expressing frustration with books that I dislike. It's just nice to have people that have common interests and have something that I can talk to them about. It also, I think, is nice for like the people that are close to me in real life, because they get to not have to listen to me talk about books 24/7. Sorry for the pause in the video there. My dog Gibson decided that he wanted to come up on the bed with me and introduce himself to Booktube. He is a 12-year-old pit bull lab mix, and I've had him for most of his life, and he is my best buddy, and he'll probably pop up in videos from time to time. Anyway, so back to the questions. Question number 4, why do you love reading? I don't know if I can identify specifically why I love reading. I think there's like a lot of different reasons. For me, one of the primary reasons is that it is an escape from the stressful reality of day-to-day life. If I've had a rough day at work, I can come home and pick up a book and then forget about whatever happened. If I am not feeling good, I can kind of forget the troubles that I'm having and slip into a book. I also love it because I feel like it challenges my brain and it keeps me like sharp and focused. I think that I'm at my best when I'm reading. you know, like at times when I've slacked off on my reading, I can always feel like my brain is a little cloudy or fuzzy. And as soon as I start picking up that habit of reading again, I get sharp and focused. I think in some ways it challenges me. Books are not always easy. Sometimes they make you feel deep or difficult things. And so it can cause you to grow. It can enhance your perspective. I love that it can challenge you to be open or consider things you might not have considered before. I also really love that sometimes books are a good emotional release. I am one of those people that like tends to bottle up my feelings and not really express them in the best or the healthiest ways sometimes. So when I'm feeling a little like emotionally constipated, sometimes it really helps to pick up like a really sad book and read it and like use that as a like release for all of those difficult feelings. So for those many things, I really love reading. Question 5, which book or series got you into reading? That is tough. I don't know if there's any book or series that specifically got me into reading. What actually really got me into reading was my mom and my dad. When I was a little kid, they used to read to me every single night before bed, and they instilled that habit in me since like I was very little. As long as I can remember, my parents read to me. And then when I got old enough to read to myself, I continued that habit and continued to read pretty voraciously. The first series that I really recall just like falling in love with was the Harry Potter series. I was very young when the first book, well, I guess not very young. I was young when the first book was published. And I remember reading it and that being the first really magical experience with a book where I just like resonated with the character. I got to experience a different world, and that whole concept really just like reinforced my love for reading. And then growing up with the series and waiting for each book to be released and all that, that was pretty magical for me. I, as an adult, am really sad to find out the author's beliefs on certain subjects, and I'm really honestly quite disappointed in her, but I do have that nostalgia and that memory for that book series. I think some other ones that had a similar effect for me were like The Hobbit / The Lord of the Rings. I did The Hobbit as a play in 8th grade, and I read it and I just was like, oh, this is amazing. And then The Lord of the Rings started coming out shortly after, and I started reading those. And the same thing, I had that like, oh, I'm off on an adventure with the characters kind of a feeling, and that really just enhanced and reinforced my love for reading. Question 6, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Sorry, my dog is just like a ham for attention. If you start petting him, he like won't stop. He just wants to be constantly petted and loved. So questions for my favorite booktubers. I guess at this point, since I don't really know how this works entirely, I would ask what things they've learned since starting their own booktubes, what advice they would give to somebody that's new. I would ask them probably how they come across funny, charming, witty, whatever, because for me it's a really big struggle to not come across super awkward, and maybe what the most life-changing book they've ever read was. Not the best or the worst necessarily, but the thing that maybe changed a viewpoint for them. So yeah, I think those would be probably the things that I would ask most well-known booktubers. Question 7, what challenges would be the hardest in starting a booktube channel? There are lots of challenges for me in regards to starting a booktube channel. As I mentioned, I'm a little older than I think the average like booktuber, bookstagrammer, etc. So I don't really know how to do social media super well. Instagram, I think I have a good handle on, but like YouTube, I had never recorded a video prior to starting this. I had never had another YouTube channel prior to this. I had no idea how to edit a video at all. So that's all been challenging, trying to teach myself on the fly how to shoot videos, how to edit them, and then like learning SEO and how to title the videos and learning about like analytics and things like that has been quite the challenge. It's still like a really big challenge. I definitely don't have a complete handle on it yet, but I learn more every day with every video. I'm trying to be really patient with myself and give myself grace because, you know, like with anything, everything takes practice, and I'm still like really at the very beginning of this journey, and I hope that as I continue to post videos, I'll, you know, learn more and more tricks. Question 8, when did you start reading? So I kind of already touched on this. There isn't like a definitive date on when I started reading, but my parents have been reading to me since I was a little kid, both my dad and my mom. They both read quite a lot. My mom probably reads a little more than my dad, but my dad does read every night as well. So the two of them were always, you know, reading books at home and reading to me and encouraging me to read. And then my grandmother as well was also a really voracious reader. So when I was a little bit older, my grandmother would pick me up from school, you know, she would quiz me on vocabulary words or talk to me about books and things like that. So just really all of my life, reading has been reinforced by everyone in my family. Okay, the next question is, where do you read? I am going to give you the answer that my boyfriend just gave me when I told him this was the next question, and then I'll tell you my answer. His answer was every my answer, to be a little more specific, would be some of my favorite places to read. After a really stressful day, I love to take a hot bath with a good book and just relax. That's probably my favorite place to read. I also like to sit in bed. Like if I'm not going to take a bath, I'll like lay in bed before I go to sleep and I'll read a little bit. I like to read in the car. Like if I'm going on a long road trip and there's not beautiful scenery to pay attention to, I'll definitely read. We camp a lot and hike a lot, so I love to set up a hammock and read in the hammock out in the mountains. When I'm home in California visiting my parents, I love to go to the beach and read. At my mom and dad's house, they have like an outdoor couch like on their patio area, and I love to sit out there and enjoy the nice San Diego weather and read out there. Pretty much anywhere that I have time to read. At work, I like to sneak in little reading breaks. You know, I'll tell myself I have to work for 45 minutes and then I have to accomplish a certain amount of stuff, and then I'll give myself like a little 5-minute reading break so that I can kind of keep my brain focused throughout the day. My boyfriend, I've been trying to convince him to read, so sometimes like we'll go to like a local park and like lay out a blanket and read together. We're reading a series in Spanish and we'll go back and forth. I'll read a chapter, he'll read a chapter. Sometimes I'll go to like my local coffee shops and read, the library, you name it, I read there. Okay, last question, number 10. What kind of books do you like to read? So I try to read a bit of everything. Probably my favorite genres would be like suspense or thrillers. I really like a good psychological thriller. I really enjoy historical fictions. I enjoy mysteries, true crime, all that kind of stuff. I love a good autobiography, memoirs, things like that. Probably like my least favorites would be romance, and I'm not really into like really bloody, gory horror or like graphic novels. I do like some young adult fantasy. I love fantasy as a category. Young adult fantasy, for me, it just depends on the individual book. There's a lot of series that I've really loved, and then there's some where I'm just like, this is just a little too young for me. But that being said, part of my goal with Booktube is to challenge myself to read things that I might not ordinarily. So like, for example, this month for Halloween, I've been reading all horror books, and a lot of them are psychological thrillers and suspense and stuff, which is like right in my ballpark. But a lot of them are like gothic horror, dark academia, things like that I don't really gravitate to as much normally. And I've actually found that I'm really enjoying a lot of the books. So I'm learning that sometimes it's not the genre, it's just finding the right author or the right style within the genre. And so I'm working on that. And yeah, I guess that's about everything. I don't know if there's anything else really important to tell you. Just, I guess maybe that I put the books that I'm working on reading in the month on the shelf behind me, so it changes every month depending on what my TBR is. Other than that, I have books scattered throughout my bedroom, throughout my kitchen, throughout my living room. We're running out of space. Every time I bring some home, my boyfriend rolls his eyes at me because he's like, where are we gonna put these ones now? But we try to donate what we can to little free libraries. I have a whole box to bring home to my mom when we go to visit over Halloween. And yeah, other than that, I think that's everything you really need to know to kind of get a little feel of who I am. And I'm Caitlin Bandy. This is Bandysbooks. If you like this video, please consider giving me a like If you are interested in seeing some of my book content, I do post videos Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, I do a book-related recipe. So every recipe I do is going to be themed and created in honor of a book that I've loved. So far, I've done The Hunger Games, Coraline, and Billy Summers. I also, on Thursdays, post just strictly book-related content. So I do book hauls, book reads, like updates, festive book-related content, different challenges, all sorts of things. I do post very religiously, like clockwork. The time is a little flexible during the day, but always on Tuesday, always on Thursday. It's up. So if you're interested in any of that, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when my videos are uploaded. And leave me a comment down below and let me know how you started reading and why you started your Booktube channel. I would love to get to know you, come follow your channel, watch your videos as well. Thank you for checking me out, and we'll see you in the next one.